iterative process. Thanks to games like Minecraft, players can now see games developed in almost real time through the release process known as early access. But when a game is still in early access a year after its quote-unquote release, is it still worth it? Enshrouded is a game that has been gaining attention, but has been in early access for over a year now. Is it still a must-play in 2025? Let's find out. Enshrouded is a co-op survival exploration game developed and published by Keen Games. You and up to 15 other friends can play together to explore the world of Embervale. You play as a Flameborn, the last hope of a lost civilization that was trying to stop the Shroud, a mysterious fog that they released by digging too deeply and greedily like some mineral-obsessed dwarves. You awaken blind to the world, a constructed being who must figure out how to save the world not just on their own, but with other Flameborn. In a start that feels almost ripped directly from Breath of the Wild, you awaken almost naked with nothing on our person, inside of a special chamber built to house Flameborn until they awaken. It gives almost Fallout 4 vibes, but without the deceased partner in one of the other ovens. You then step out into a world and are basically told, here it is, have fun. The opening movie does give an overview of what has gone wrong in the world, and the implication is that now you need to help rebuild civilization from scratch. You will accomplish this by exploring, battling monsters, and literally rebuilding civilization in various safe zones. Enshrouded has a basic character creation system with a variety of options. While it is not as expansive as something like Fallout, The Sims, or Elden Ring with their multitude of sliders, Enshrouded does give you a good chance to create a character that will look different than other people that you play with, if you decide to play co-op. It also does let you quickly breeze through as if you don't care that much about customization and still get something that looks halfway decent. As with a lot of games that are in early access, the tutorial is clearly something that is being tweaked and worked on. While this is my first time playing Enshrouded, and I cannot say if it has improved or changed over time, at least with the Pact of Flame update in March 2025, the game will present little pop-up markers that teach you how to play the game. My biggest complaint with it, and similar systems to this, is that you only get tutorials for what you run across. This is fine starting out, as there are a few opening moments that are very linear, but as the world unfolds in front of you, it is easy to miss one of the callouts. I do appreciate the times the game goes through a kind of little mini tour of the available options, like when you select your first set of skills, or you try your first time crafting. It highlights and expands various UI elements in a clear fashion. Progression in the game is handled through an experience system. As you kill mobs, craft items, and find new areas, you are rewarded with experience and you gain levels. These levels come with skill points that you can assign to a large amount of skills in a huge skill tree. While there are no specific classes in the game, and your character customization comes down to which branches of the tree you decide to go down, there are clearly labeled paths for things like warrior, healer, etc., so that you can follow a specific path to get to kind of a generic build. Or you can decide to mix and match and come up with your own playstyle. The tree supports a variety of playstyles out of the box. You want to hack and slash? Go down the warrior path. You want to cast spells? Go down the wizard path. Want to pretend that this is Skyrim and play a stealth archer? Go right ahead. There is a level cap, which as of September 2024 is set to 35. After that you can progress the story, but your character will no longer gain skill points. However, there are ways to respec your character, so if you do a build that later on you don't like, you can go through and rebuild your character. The main gameplay loop is to explore an area, kill mobs to collect resources, harvest items from the world for more resources, craft items out of those, and build your base. Eventually you will take down an area boss, which will open up more areas. This mimics other games like Valheim, where as you explore more of the world, the mobs get harder and harder. Nothing in the world really seems to stop you from progressing, other than the strength of the mobs. If you push too far, the game will happily let you explore, and then the monsters will help tell you that you need to pull back and get stronger before you get any further. The game itself progresses as you follow set objectives like rescue other Flameborn, climb towers, and reclaim wells. This progression is separate from your character progression and seems to work a lot more like Terraria, where your character progression in terms of level and skills is decoupled from the world progression. Since the game centers on exploration, as you find new areas in the game, you can come across different scrolls, notes, and books from NPCs that have long since passed. These not only give you nice little lore dumps, but they also provide you with little side quests. For example, there's an early one where you come across a small little story about someone discovering and opening a mine. This leads you to find the mine, and kicks off a short tutorial about how to mine and why it's important. Another one will actually teach you about ancient tombs and send you off to explore and find those in each area. This gives some nice little respite from just doing the main quest, and is a nice reward for just running around and finding things. Speaking of which, exploration is a huge part of the game. Enshrouded does not use a procedural world unlike other games of this genre. This allows developers to make sure that developers get a cohesive experience from beginning to end. While I think that this will probably hamper replayability from a discovery aspect, at least the first time you play a game or you're exploring a new area, it can be very exciting. Enshrouded is clearly a game that is taking aspects from other games and putting them together in a fun and engaging way. I don't think that there is anything revolutionary here that sets it apart from other similar games, other than its core story. There is a lot of care put into the systems that are there, though. Nothing feels clunky or half-baked. Combat is simple, but engaging. Crafting is varied, but simplistic, and that you just learn recipes as you progress, and you just need to collect those resources. Exploration is naturally gated by difficulty, and the length of time that you can spend in the Shroud. There's nothing revolutionary here, but nothing is necessarily bad either. Enshrouded has a difficulty slider for when you start the world. You can change the difficulty whenever you load your save, which is nice if you find that the difficulty last time you played was too easy or too difficult. There's even a custom difficulty that you can use to tweak the world to you and your friends' liking. Bumping up the difficulty adds things like more mobs, making them more aggressive, and even making death more punishing by making you drop your full inventory, not just certain items. If you want to have fun exploring, there's even a relaxed mode. The graphics are somewhat cartoonish, but in a way that really fits with the aesthetic of the world itself. Monsters are well detailed, like the wolves and the various Shroud monsters, and there's even a good variety of mobs. While it has been a while since I played it, it does give me very POW World vibes mixed with Breath of the Wild. You can come across what was clearly a civilization that at one point was very vibrant, but has long since fallen into disrepair, much like the Kingdom of Hyrule. Then the somewhat cartoony visual aspects push it a little bit toward POW World. Everything works together though in a really nice way. The game also has dynamic weather and climates. For example, as you go higher, you get colder and will need more specialized armor. Your character can also get buffs from being dry, fed, and warm, which gives a nice incentive to build better bases. At the end of the day, Enshrouded is a nice addition to the survival crafting genre. If you like games like Valheim, I think you'll enjoy this. If you like to play co-op, it even supports up to 16 characters, and there's already a handful of dedicated server hosting platforms, which is going to give you a little bit more capacity than what Valheim supports. Short of the fact that the game is more handcrafted, if you aren't really a fan of this genre, I don't think there's anything here that's necessarily going to win you over though. If you want a good survival crafting game to get started, I think Enshrouded will be a very good option. It's easy enough to customize the difficulty, you can have friends help you out, and death itself is not overly punishing. So at this point, a year into the early access cycle with this game, I think it's definitely a pickup if you want to get into this genre or you are already excited and play in this genre. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments below. Goodbye, Internet.
Hello again, Internet. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. And if you have not already, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? The button's right there below the video. It greatly helps the channel, and it lets you know when new videos are posted. Since you're here, why don't you check out another video? One is suggested here for you, so go ahead and click on it. If you want to watch me record these videos, you can find me over at Twitch at twitch.tv/DragonmanTank. But no matter what you do, thanks for watching. Goodbye, Internet!